What's up, desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and today I'm joined by Brett Wilkin. I was about to say Ivana, but because I saw the screen name just then, but Brett Wilkin, Martin, and also Urs Kalecinski. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but Urs, how you doing? And how do you pronounce that last name?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me on this episode. Finally we made it. And it's funny how the Americans and English-speaking guys pronounce Urs, because in Germany it's Urs.
Urs. Okay.
Yeah, but I love Urs. It's like always I see Bob Ciccarelli on his Urs Kalecinski, and yeah, that's cool. So yeah.
So did I pronounce the first and second name wrong?
Kalecinski.
Kalecinski. Okay.
Forget it.
Yeah, we'll just go with what you said.
Yeah. We'll just go Urs.
It's the Polish guy.
Yeah.
But man, you've had a massive rise in the sport, and I'll ask obviously Brett how the guest posing went and all that sort of stuff, and I've got a bunch of stuff for Martin as well. But man, you've had a massive rise in the sport. Like probably a little bit over a year ago, I didn't even know who you were. You've competed at the Olympia, you've been in that first call out, you've been standing right up there with Chris Bumstead, obviously did well at the Arnolds, won the Boston Pro. Man, how different is your life now compared to just say 2 years ago?
Honestly, it's nothing changed that much, because I thought about it, and now I'm earning more money and that stuff, but I always wanted to stay in this underdog mentality and just train and work my ass off, because I think when you rise to the top, like Jay Cutler back in the days, and then you think, okay, now I can win the shows and I'm good enough, and then you don't train as hard as you could, and yeah, that's not the way I want to go to, and I just stay here, living with my girlfriend, same flat, same gym, same surrounding, and I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. Are you going to get in trouble for doing this interview for speaking too much English, or?
Yeah. It's funny here in Germany, they always say, hey, talk German, and then I say, hey, if you want to be in the top in this sport, you need to learn English, and you need to speak English and open up yourself to the world. And yeah, some of the German, especially the old school German bodybuilders, they're like, no, you're a German boy, talk German. And yeah, but you know how it is.
Sure, man. I've noticed as well, like your social media, your YouTube, like your YouTube gets really good views, and it's actually a really good channel. You guys actually all have really good channels. But I was watching your videos and it was in German, and the subtitles, like I was like, oh, this sort of won't work, but it's actually really cool to even watch with subtitles. And I was watching the last one where like there was a few kids at the front of a gym, and you're like, oh, these are my children, and you like pick them up and you're messing around with them and stuff, and it's like, it's pretty cool to see, man. Because you're only, how old are you now? Like, because it wouldn't have been that long ago, really, but you were sort of their age.
Yeah, I'm 24 now, but they came to the gym, to the bunker where I train, and I started with 13 years old. So I asked them, how old are you guys? And they said, yeah, we are 13 and 14. And I say a perfect age to begin with. And yeah, they come, and every week I say, hey, if you come next week and do 20 pull-ups and kind of stuff, I give them some protein and some samples from my sponsors and everything, and they're so happy about it. And that reminds me of myself back in the days, working out with my brother and enjoying the sport. It's great. Sometimes I don't know if you guys have the same thing. It feels a little bit like a job, like you have to do it. And I remind myself to the beginner days, like I said, with my brother, just working out, enjoying everything, and soak up everything, so that that you can enjoy it more, and then everything gets better, you know.
Brett and Martin, did you guys have any like siblings that were into the gym and stuff, like Urs, like that got you into the gym?
You want to go, Brett? Yeah, so no, I mean, I just have an older sister, but she was a Division I athlete, so she played softball in college and was a very, very good athlete. So it was more so that like athletics kind of drove me into the lifting. You know, that's when lifting was introduced. I remember like starting shit. It was probably like 7th grade. I was next door neighbors with the wrestling coach. I never wrestled, oddly enough, but he would pick me up at like 5 a.m. before school. He's like, one day he's just like, you want to start lifting? I was like, oh, of course, you know, because like, you know, he was the big badass, you know, the wrestling coach. And so he started picking me up at 5 a.m. before school just to train at the gym, go in there with all like the high scores and train. And so that's kind of where when I started, and that's when I kind of got a, you know, love for it. But then I used that throughout, you know, obviously with through sports. So in high school, then college, we always did training and then that transition. So I always knew how to train hard for sports, but then it was that transition into bodybuilding after sports is what took it off for me.
Yeah. Marty?
You know what? That's what I love. Sorry to interrupt, but that's what I
good.
love about the US, man. It's so cool that you're starting in a really early age to get really used to competing and to the sport. And here you only have 1 or 2 hours at school and that's it. And in the US you have football and everything and really good coaches pushing you. And here it's not so not so normal to take a coach or work with a coach, you know. But that's really cool.
Yeah, so mine's similar to Brett. Like I started wrestling. I actually wrestled when I was 3.
Wow.
And so that culture, you know, like the first thing you start asking is like, okay, so when you start losing, like, how do I beat the other kids? And the things that they start saying is like, well, you know, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and which progresses into weight training, which was like around 10 or 12 for me, which is when I got serious into it. And around that time, there was a semi-pro football player in the little town that I lived in. And he's like a big brother to me. His name was Carl. And him and his brother CJ, they trained every day together. Like they were like 240, super strong. Like Carl squatted 600 for 3 once when I was trained with them back in the day, like bench big numbers. And they just took me under their wing like their little brother, and kicked the shit out of me every day, you know, made me puke and beat my ass in every training session and stuff. But honestly, man, like I've kind of always kind of kept a big brother in my training, if you will. Kind of in college, I was kind of the big dog. But then as soon as I got the opportunity to have a bigger fish push me with Brett, you know, I moved to Denver for that specifically, to have a big brother to kick my ass and push me harder and make me better. And when I got here, I found Keon as another brother to push me, not a bigger brother necessarily, but somebody to push me, or having Branch, you know. So I really truly love that, like that brotherhood that this creates, and like what it can do to just have somebody there to push you, and really like the growth that you have together. I mean, what Brett and I did together was fucking awesome, man. We had an incredible run together, and Keon and I were still training together and stuff, which is cool, you know. So it's really fun, and like that's a huge part of why I love this sport so much.
Yeah, man, for sure. Is like obviously like growing up in Germany compared to America, you've probably seen like American films and all that sort of stuff. How does it compare, like getting into bodybuilding in Germany versus America? Because America, it seems to be like, you know, oh, I was playing high school football and then I needed to do weights for that. And then I love the weights more. So I did that. That's like a pretty sort of common story. How is it in Germany and how did you get into it?
You know, in Germany, everybody plays football or soccer, you know.
Yeah.
And they 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 love it so hard that every other sport is a little subculture, what I would say. And like I said, I started with my oldest brother. I have 2 older brothers, and they pushed me until today. You know, every time when I compete, my older brother is with me and supports and everything. So I started very early because my dad was a weightlifter back in the days, and then I was a little bit with him. But my mom was a ballerina at the other side, and so I wanted to make both of them proud and started breakdancing. And I was a little fat when I was younger, so So my breakdance trainer said, yeah, you need to do push-ups and stuff. And then I asked my dad, okay, hey, what sort of workout can I do to lose the body fat and everything? And then, yeah, it started. And my oldest brother was a gymnast, and he looked phenomenal. And then I said, yeah, fuck, I want to look like this guy. Because he had girls and everything, and I started with 13, 14 years old. You know how it is. Don't want to be a static boy. And then yeah, we started to train, and from the first session I loved it and keep pushing it. And then yeah.
So the combination of your mum being a ballerina, and I think you said your dad was a weightlifter, that sort of started these sort of posing routines, man, because your posing is sick. Like, not many guys that are this young into the sport sort of pose this sort of gracefully, and also just with that amount of, I suppose, charisma and flair. Like, where did you learn that from? Is that from a breakdancing or?
No, I'm doing the posing routines together with my mom. So she is a ballerina and choreographer, and I do the poses, and she does she's doing the transitions and everything, and the thing with the hands and the head and how important that is. You know, doing pose like this and not looking there, so looking where the arm goes, and that little things, they're so important when you want to do the extra 10% in the presentation.
Yeah.
But what I don't like is that we can only pose for 2 minutes in Classic. I hope they raise it up to 3 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's with some of the divisions now, obviously, because there are so many divisions at some of these bigger shows, it's like they sort of need to, I suppose, limit it somewhere so the shows don't go all day. But it is a shame sometimes when you lose, you know, the Classic Physique has the best posing routines in general, I'd say. You know, obviously there's some good routines in the open and whatnot as well, but the Classic routines are, you know, you look at the top 5 at the Olympia, you look through every one of those guys and they all have sick routines. So I definitely think they should extend it. How long do the open guys get, Brett?
3.
Is there even, like, Marty, is there even a cap? I think like you can go at least 3 minutes, but
yeah, it's 3 minutes. I mean, I'm sure they probably wouldn't get mad at you if you went a little over that, if you killed it, because I mean, most open guys are going 2 minutes and going off stage. So if you're killing it like Hunter or something, like they probably let you go a little bit longer than 3. But that what the rule book says in the IFBB is 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, because I think with Classic, the posing is just like, I don't know. It feels like it's almost like a prerequisite, even though it's not directly judged except at the Arnold Classic. But it feels like you sort of need to have a good routine, otherwise you're not in their league, you know. So I love to see it.
But at the Arnold's this year, I did my routine, and then after 2 minutes exactly, they stopped it, and then
Really?
10 or 15 seconds more to go, and I was like, yeah, whatever. So the whole song is like goes up until the final 10 seconds, and then you have to drop and everything. And before the drop, they
I think I remember that as well. I knew they did it to someone. So
yeah.
See, the thing about the Arnold is so like they had a time schedule and they stuck exactly to it. Like they knew exactly, beforehand. It was written down. Like you start at 6:13, things like that. So I can see why. I don't agree with it, but that's definitely what they were doing. Is they had everything down to a certain minute because they had performers, they had everything. But yeah, you probably could have gone longer at Boston if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like there's certain events, like I would love the fact that when everything's happening at the exact time and all that sort of stuff with the Arnold. But at the same time, I think if you've got someone like Urs posing, then you've got to give him an extra 15, 20 seconds, like, because that routine, I actually think I remember it being cut off and being like, oh, that sucks, like, because you want to see
especially in Classic when you have a best posing award and get 10K for the best place.
Oh yeah.
Like the Arnolds, then it should be until the end, and would be crazy. Imagine I saw just the Mohamed Makaway posing from '83 a couple hours ago, and it was the Mr. Olympia in Munich, and he looked phenomenal and posed for 4 minutes or something like this, and it was epic. And nowadays you don't have it anymore.
Yeah. Do you think they should judge the posing routine in Classic and Open?
Sorry?
Do you think they should judge the posing routine in like outside of the Arm Classic?
In Classic, yeah. In post, in the Open class, it's not necessary, because you can do a cool routine, but Classic is more like, it's harder to judge nowadays, I would say, because you have the weight cap and you have the different physiques, and you don't know in which, I don't know how to describe it, but in which direction the Classic goes to. And in Open, you really know what it is about and what it is to judge. And in Classic, it would be a little extra, you see top 6 Olympia, top 8 Olympia this year. It's gonna be like everybody can get 1 to 8, and that would separate it, with the posing routine. So I would love to get a little bit judging from that.
Yeah, it would definitely work in your favor, but obviously, like I said, there's a lot of guys with good routines. Brett and Martin, I'll go to you first. Brett, what do you think? Do you think they should introduce the judging for at least the Classic for the posing?
I think it, in some regards, it should be in both, but we talked about this last time. They weren't on here, but we were talking with Lee about it. It's just, there needs to be some kind of percentage that gets weighed in, maybe if it's still only like 1/4 of the total or something like that, but posing should have some kind of impact on the show overall.
Yeah. Martin, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I mean, I think it's important, obviously. So with the Open guys, like, obviously they let you, the banging elbows really makes it kind of show who's going to win the show, if you will. But the posing routine can also show a lot of things. Like, it can really show how good you are at hiding your flaws, for one. That kind of get exposed in the posing rounds. It's like, say I have small hamstrings, but every way that I hit in my posing routine, you never catch that. I think that that's something that should be taken into consideration. Is like, okay, this guy's really good at posing and smart about the poses that he hits and things like that. As well as, like, it makes bodybuilding more exciting, right? I mean, the posing routine is for the crowd, and if the athlete has to take that into consideration and he has to make it really good for him to win, I think it in the long run, it probably, one, makes you consider it a lot more and put a lot more effort into it, because at the end of the day, it's part of your paycheck. And then two, it's gonna make a better show for the crowd.
Yeah. In my mind, I was thinking then as well. Obviously, Brett used to be on Fuad's podcast, and they were just mentioning. I actually did it. If someone can find this, if someone can find where I discussed about doing how bodybuilding should do a thing like the WWE does, where they have like an online subscription and you can watch every sort of like event through the year. You can do like a yearly thing, or you can pay per event or whatever. So it's a thing run by the IFB, and then obviously each promoter would get a cut of it or whatever. But it actually came up, someone brought up in a question on the latest Fuad Abiad podcast, and I want to get your guys' opinion on if you would do that sort of thing. And if anyone can find that clip on what video I mentioned it in, can they send it to me as well? But anyone listening to the show, just put it in the comments. But what do you guys think about that sort of idea to actually grow bodybuilding in terms of popularity and get people following the shows more? Like, it doesn't have to be a thing, like it can be a thing where people are charged per month during the bodybuilding season. It's $40, whatever, but they get to see every show. What do you think about that? Or do you think that should be something that's introduced, or?
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea, and I love to compare bodybuilding a bit to WWE, because it's like Martin said, it's for the crowd, and that's the same thing with the posing routine. We're doing it for the crowd, and we put in the effort to do it and to make a great show, And it's not only for money or for the competition, it's for the fans and for everybody who's coming and watch bodybuilding. And it would be, in my opinion, it would be more popular if we would do it like this. And of course, I would love it to have yeah, like a season pass or something like this, where you can see every bodybuilding show and really support the hardcore fans. But yeah, I don't know if it's hard to set up for the promoters and do a whole the whole money gets separate for every promoter. It's hard to yeah, it's always hard when it goes about the money, you know.
Yeah. Well, even if they had something where they say, look, the promoters don't get to do a live stream, but we do it for you guys, but the sanction fees are way lower or something like that. Or I don't know, work out something where it works out for sort of both parties and they could have some sort of agreement between the promoters and the federation. I think that'd be great. What do you think about that, Marty?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that would be incredible. To be honest, like, I mean, I don't want to see us go to WWE, but I want to see that exact thing that Urs is saying. Like, I want to see us become more popular. So realistically, the best way for us to become way more popular in the eyes of people that love bodybuilding is to be able to see it easily. So a subscription, right, makes it easier for them to be able to say, oh, I'm going to watch the show this weekend. Are you going to watch the show this weekend? Because they've already subscribed and they're part of the deal and they feel like they're part of it. I know the other thing we talked about was like them having like a collab YouTube channel and saying like, hey, Marty, we're going to pay so-and-so to come film you today for a day in the life. And they put that maybe in the pay-per-views as well. I think that that's like really, like, I think that would be huge, man. Getting people involved in like each person's journey that they, I mean, obviously there's going to be the people that they like, you know, so you pick the guys that you think top 8, top 10, and you follow them around and you road to the Olympia, and that's part of the pay-per-view as well. And you get people just like, we have a cult sport, so you get a cult following to go along with the whole thing. And I think it would be really successful, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we need to expose the personalities more as well of you guys, because like Urs, you've got a great personality. Marty, you're a guy that, you know, I didn't know heaps and heaps about, you know, just say 12 months ago.
Everybody has a great personality. If you would like I say, you would promote it, you know, like you go to the guy and film it, and like a 1 minute trailer or something before he comes out, and or in the pay-per-view, and then you have like so many different actors or characters, and then the fans are getting more excited about it, you know.
Yeah, and obviously it's all money as well, but if they had something where, like you said, like a trailer as these athletes are about to come out, even if it's a 30-second one where it's got, you know, the video that you took, where you could have a longer form out as well prior to the show, which you could release either on YouTube or you could release it as part of the sort of the pay-per-view package or the season pass or whatever you have. And then you can have the full video in there, and then you can have the little preview, you know, but right before every posing routine or something like that, or right before everyone comes out at pre-judging. So you get to find out a little bit of that person's story, be like, you know, I'm you know, coming back to try to win this show. I got second at last year, blah, 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 and have the epic music playing. And then they walk out and you're like, you're more emotionally invested as a fan to be like, oh yeah, I like this dude, or oh no, I don't like this guy. This guy's cocky or whatever, because you've got like the names we've got right now. We'll just say, obviously, in Classic Physique, there's a lot of different personalities and names. You obviously got Chris Bumstead, you got Terrence Ruffin, you got yourself, you got Ramon Dino, you've got all those guys that, you know, all have a different story, which is really cool. But then in open, you've got the introduction of guys like Andrew Jack. Obviously, you're coming up, Martin. Brett, you're wanting redemption this year. You've got Mikhail Krizo. You've got obviously Big Ramy. What's going on with him? Like, if we get all these stories, obviously Hardy, Brandon Curry, Nick Walker, he's going for the win. Like, there's a whole bunch of names that are sort of contending this year. And if we could find out a little bit about this sort of top 10 going into the Olympia in, you know, most of the divisions, I think everyone would be more emotionally invested, and they'd be even more hardcore fans. So it might bring more love and more hate on each side. But we've obviously seen that with the last video I put out of you, Marty, where you're basically sort of giving your honest opinion of pose by pose about the Texas Pro. And, you know, half the people saying that, oh, it's cool that Marty was honest. He, you know, said that, you know, Andrew won these poses, and, you know, you can see how he looked, and he looked really good, and maybe he should have won, whatever. Then you got the other side going like, what are you guys talking about? Blah, blah, and just, you know, sort of hating. So it's in a way, as you know, you guys personally, it's like, oh, you don't want people obviously hating on you like that. But I think when people are more, it's like Conor McGregor. Some people love him, some people hate him, but more people are emotionally invested because they have that love-hate relationship with him. So, Brett, what's your thoughts on this, and what do you think they should do?
Well, I think a lot of what you just described is kind of like the first generation Iron movie, and like I think that's
in a way
it did so successful too, because that first one was very successful. But what they did is they kind of started twisting it a little too much. They made Phil. They played characters. Phil was the bad guy. Kai was the guy that was living in the streets in Brooklyn. Eating fish off a little pan. Trying to get the title. And so they went with storylines, which like it was dramatic. And then obviously they had Branch out at the ranch, and then he fell off the horse. We all remember
which
that.
was their fault.
Yeah, right. Like he's probably still pissed about that today.
But
like,
did he fake it? Do you know, Martin? He faked
it. No, he fucking fell off that horse for sure.
Oh, so what happened? So what happened was he told them like, hey, I need to ride this horse. She's really bucky right now. Like, just get away from me for like 10 minutes and let me get her to calm down, and then you guys can film me. Well, they came over like right away, and when they came over, they bumped her on the butt with the mic. And when they did, she started bucking. And Branch got bucked off because he wasn't even expecting them to come over. He was just about to get her calmed down. And then he was livid. Then he was like, all right, you guys are done. We can't do this. Like, I asked you nicely to like, please not come over here. And they just got excited because they saw that the horse finally calmed down. And so they went over right away instead of just letting him come to them and like get her acclimated to all the people and stuff. And it was like, then like he said, like Phil, same thing. Like we heard stories from Phil, they're like made him run up the hill like 10 times. And he's like, I don't even run.
Like running through the mountains. He's like, I don't fucking run through the mountains. Like, it's like they played it up too much, but it shows, back to the point, it shows that worked. You know what I mean? But like maybe not. Don't let the producer, the production team, or whoever's behind the scenes, like put their twist on it and create a storyline. Just let them be yourself. We enjoyed seeing Phil behind the scenes, seeing Branch at the ranch. We enjoyed that, but they did a little too much with the storyline, and like, because that, like that created hatred for people without even truly knowing them. Like Phil got a lot of hate for that video, and they, that kind of turned him into that villain that he became, and he had to run with it, but maybe he didn't want to go that route. But videos like that made it. So it's more so just, show this stuff leading up to the show, but let you build your own character,
Yeah. Have you guys seen the F1 documentary Drive to Survive?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, like imagine something like that as well that we could relate, that could be released on bodybuilding, like something that comes out every year. It builds those personalities, and that's, with me watching that made me get into F1. So I'm like, something like that for bodybuilding, if it was released through Netflix or wherever, that could make people get into bodybuilding. If you could see those personalities, it's still going to be a niche thing, but with the inclusion of the classic guys as well, that might be sort of an entry for some people to be like, oh yeah, I'll check this out. And then eventually they might become a fan of the open guys, because we've seen that happen. Guys that, want to compete in classic that are now like switching over to open or switching to 12 or whatever. So I think that could be a potential possibility for sure. But I found the horse accident with Branch, if you guys can see it.
People really thought it was fake?
No, you know what I thought? I thought it's like a trick he's doing. But
yeah, no. So before that,
I think me and Martin know Branch too well that like that would never even cross our minds. You know what I mean? Like he would rather. He is not fake about anything. Like, why would he fall for horse?
Yeah, definitely not fake, bro. No, that was a very, very mad Branch after that.
Yeah, man.
Like Brett said, he's still mad about it.
We'll have to get Branch on sometime.
Don't bring up horse around him, seriously. Don't bring up that scene.
Yeah, we'll have to get him on sometime, Marty, when you're on one of the shows.
Yeah, of course. He's in Florida right now. Otherwise, we would have him on right now.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Yeah, next episode of One After or something. That'd be cool. But yeah, I'm sure we've got some listener questions. I posted up a thing on the Instagram and stuff before. But Marty, I want.
Oh,
Hey,
you
Urs,
posted up 10 minutes before or something.
I know.
Okay.
Urs,
Have some questions.
how's the gym scene in Germany? Like, do you have like choices, or do you just have like one gym that you can go to? I know you prefer one, but I mean, do you have like choices, or is like a bodybuilding kind of themed gym very rare there?
Yeah, we have a lot of gyms, but not private gyms, you know. We have like McFit and that kind of stuff, and you have you have not the vibe in there. And I train at the bunker right now. It's more like an basement gym, really hardcore, and different machines. That's what I love about it. You have Nautilus, you have Gym 80, you have hammer strength, you have everything. And the most gyms, especially in Berlin where I live, you only have like one producer of equipment, and then you have to go to another gym, and I don't like it. We open up in Gold's Gym here, but it's not the Gold's Gym you know from Venice with everything in there and different machines. You only have one, like I said, one company in there, and yeah, that's not so cool. And I'm so jealous seeing you in the gyms in the US. You have everything. I love Prime, you know, the Prime machines.
Yeah.
And if somebody listens to this podcast and can check me some Prime machines here in Germany, I'm your guy. Yeah, but it is how it is, and I don't think it's bad. You can train with everything. You know, the guys are in Poland. I'm often driving to Poland to visit my family, and then I train there, and they have like nothing and look like jacked and crazy, and just train with with the oldest machines you ever seen. But I think it works good, but it can work be better in my opinion. But we will see. Hopefully one day I can run my own private gym, and then I can buy whatever I want and train in there.
I was
And
actually jealous of you, Urs, because our gyms down here, we don't have any sort of bodybuilding specific gyms. We've just got like the chain gyms in this is in Tasmania, Australia. So I live at Tasmania is basically off the bottom of mainland Australia. And yeah, we have no good gyms down here. And I just came from Perth, which has like, you know, some pretty decent gyms, not to the level of the US ones, but they're pretty decent. But yeah, now I'm training at some pretty bad gyms. So I saw your gym the other day and I was actually like, oh, I'd rather train there in like that sort of like basement dungeon sort of gym style, you know?
really, yeah, I thought in Australia they have a great gyms and a great bodybuilding scene, but yeah, I think the US is the altar.
Because the gyms in the US are massive compared to here, like just huge. Like how big is like destination Dallas and where you guys train, Marty?
Well, I mean, I don't train at Destination very much. To be honest, Metroflex is tiny.
It is small, hey.
Yeah, Metroflex is like the size of like a regular shop, like a 4-car garage or something. Realistically, so the place I trains aren't very big. Destination is decent size. The reason Destination is so big though is it also Gasp and Better Body's warehouse is inside of it, and the shipping department is inside of there. So a lot of that square footage goes to it. So I mean it's a huge building, but Destination is pretty big. I would say like Armbrust and Revive are probably all the same size in there. Realistically though, once you take the warehouse out, like it's nothing like unbelievable, but they're big, man.
Yeah, I remember even just
Modern-
training years.
If you could decide in which you could only train in one gym in Dallas and Destination Dallas or in a Metroflex, what would you choose?
Metro, no question.
That's my boy.
Just the atmosphere, or just like what is it?
It's about the vibe, right?
Yeah, it's all of it, man. But yeah, I mean, like from top to bottom, from it being Ronnie and Branch's gym to I mean, I love the old machines, man. Like some of them just feel way better than everything else, and I don't know, dude. It's just you have, if you've been to original Metroflex, you'll understand there's nothing like it. Like, I don't care what gym you go to, there's just something about that gym, man. It's like you just feel it in your bones.
Imagine you would be there 20 years ago.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, imagine growing up, Matt, and seeing like, but just being one of the like sort of gym girls there, and seeing like Ronnie Coleman coming up, you know, and seeing him like grow before your eyes. Because I imagine, like, you know, obviously his transformations, like going from 97 to 98, and then also like 2002 to 2003, and that sort of stuff. You would have been seeing him in the gym, being like, this is crazy. And everyone was deprived back then. Like, you sort of forget now, we're spoiled. We get so much content. Like, you know, people listen to podcasts like this one, and then, you know, be able to just see everything on Instagram and stuff. I remember back in the day, I remember getting the Jay Cutler DVD in the mail in, I don't know what year it was, but it was probably like, I was probably like 15 or something, right? Or 16, and I'm 32 now. So like 17 years ago. And you'd pay like $50 back then for just like a DVD. And I got it, and I just sat in my bedroom and just watched him. And it's just, sometimes it's just him in the kitchen, not even talking, just chopping chicken with scissors. And I'm going, yep, okay, cool. I need to get those meat scissors. Like, I need to do all the stuff that he's doing. You know? And you think everything, you're like, that's the secret. Yep, cool. He doesn't seem to do much cardio. Cool. I'll just sit on my ass all day. You know, so you sort of overanalyze things. But it's sort of something about that was like any bit of information you absolutely loved. And now we're just so spoiled that we're just like, oh yeah, cool. We can see what all our favorite bodybuilders are doing all the time and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a different world of bodybuilding, but it would have been so cool back then. To be honest.
I'm spoiled because I get to hear like all the crazy stories.
Oh yeah.
Of Ronnie back in the day, and from Brian and from Branch and all that shit. So that's really cool, man. I get to hear some crazy stuff.
Have they told you any that you can divulge on here that are interesting?
If those walls could talk, I mean, there's lots of crazy stuff, man. I mean, like, even one of the Olympias that Ronnie won, he literally did 6 protein shakes a day. So like, they like told him that they wanted him to be smaller, so they like tried to bring him in, and he was like eating like 50 carbs pre-training and doing like 6 protein shakes a day, just like starving.
We all know the shakes.
And
200 grams of powder.
Yeah, and then and Brian said like he went like a week before he went to Olympia, he could like barely bench press the 130s, and Brian was like, you're fucked, you're gonna lose the Olympia, what the fuck are we doing? Like, Brian kept telling him like, you need to eat, like, I don't know what's gonna happen, this is scary, I don't know if you're gonna win. And I guess
when was this? Was this 02 or?
I think it's when he lost to Gunther right afterwards.
Yeah, 02, yeah.
Right after
so
Olympia.
Brian kind of saw the writing on the wall and was kind of like, oh shit, like, your physique is falling apart, we pushed you too hard. And it, like, yeah, I mean, we all know is like sometimes, like, you know, they're sending Polaroids in the fucking mail to Chad. Like,
you don't hear that
like his body just is fucking falling apart, and Brian can see it right in front of his eyes. But like, what do? Call Chad and just say like, hey, I think you should just feed him a shitload. Like, technology back then was so weird for coaching. So like, like I said, they literally would take Polaroids on like Friday, express them, and Chad would like get back to him by like Monday or Tuesday. Well, like,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, so like things were just crazy, man. So like, it's really interesting to hear the stories and like what they tried. And I mean, at certain points, you know, Ronnie ate 16 ounces of meat a meal to then go to all protein shakes and stuff, like, wild. So yeah, I mean, I've heard all sorts of crazy stories. I don't even know where to start. So like, that's the craziest thing, to be honest. One of his training partners is like notoriously known for like trying anything and everything to like just keep up with Ronnie. So like, he would do shots of lidocaine in his knees to numb him so that he could keep up with Ronnie for hack squat. Just like crazy stuff, man. Wild stuff. Wow. Texas bodybuilding at its finest, if you will.
Man, I think if you're in this game long enough and you're around those sort of top names, you hear sometimes some crazy shit from back in the day. Like, I've heard stories of being in it myself, man.
The early 90s and stuff were crazy, man. I mean, between obviously, like in Cali, the big thing is like they all used to be, they liked to do Nubane, which is like it's an anti-catabolic painkiller that you can't really get your hands on anymore, but it was perfect for bodybuilding, right? It kills all your pain and doesn't mess with muscle building like all the other painkillers do. So that was like huge in the 90s and stuff. And so like the crazy stories you hear, you're like, man, good thing bodybuilding is cleaned up a lot and we all get our blood work done and are a lot healthier now.
Well, obviously something you could buy over the counter back in the day as well was GHB. That was in like a heap of supplements too. And then I've heard stories like I remember Lee Priest telling one where he said, you know, this girl had too much just in a supplement store at that one that Dave Boulay worked at, the Max Muscle one, and she had too much and she's like just couldn't hardly speak and was just like almost collapsing. And then some guy came in to meet Lee and he said like, oh, is she all right? And he goes, yeah, she's fine. She just needs to go have a sleep. And she just apparently just, I think, went into the back, like vomited and fell asleep or something. I'm like, that's crazy. You could buy that from a supplement store back in the day, you know, and people just OD on it, you know? So pretty crazy what was legal, I guess. And then I think it's almost the opposite now. Like it's crazy what actually gets banned. Like especially in Australia, it's so much more strict than the US. Like if it's banned in the US, it's 100% banned in Australia, and then there's other stuff that's banned here.
But
what's it like in
Germany is probably like 10 times more even strict than you guys.
Yeah, how's it like in Germany?
We didn't have Yohimbein, you know.
We don't have it either.
Like illegal as fuck. And like a weekly dose of vitamin D, you only get like 6,000 IUs for a week.
That's the same here.
My mom needs to go to the doctor and take a recipe for 20,000 a week because her vitamin D levels are so low. And it's like
that's what I take.
Weird stuff, you know, just weird stuff. You need to buy supplements with an effective dose, and then you say to your clients or I say to my mom, yo, take 3 of the vitamin D pills, and she's like, oh no, my son, 3 are way too much, you know, like your mom is, and they are scared about it. But instead the German whatever is doing the dosages and say what's legal, what's not, could rise it up a bit, and then it would be just fine, because in the US it works perfectly. And yeah, I wanted to go to the market and buy like baby aspirin, you know, of the 100 milligrams, and she said to me, no, you don't get it, it's like you need a recipe for it. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong?
But so, by a recipe, do you mean like a we call it like a script, like a script?
Yeah. Let's say it's called in Germany. So yeah, I thought it's a recipe.
Yeah,
a recipe is like in a cookbook. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Man, I like how good your English is. It's actually really good. Like, when did you learn English?
I couldn't speak one word of English like 3 or 2 years ago, and then I had to do this layover in Mexico before the Tampa Pro and before the Olympia, and then I started to speak a bit English, and then I was like, fuck, okay, I have to do these interviews and everything, and then I watched everything on Netflix, and I spent couple of hours of Martin at the Arnold Classics, and it was so nice to talk English. And right now it's also, I take every chance to speak with guys here, like in the subway. I always drive with the subway to the gym, and there are so many guys, tourists, they visit Berlin, and I always try to speak with them and just have a little talk so I don't forget everything. And that's why I want to go to the US in October, just to learn, to train with guys, to connect, and maybe one day I go there for longer, but I don't know until this day. But it's so helpful to speak English, and it's so important for all the German fans who are listening. Go and learn some English. It's so important in every work area you go, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Now,
You can't connect to nice guys like here. You know, we're sitting, everybody's sitting in the world, and we just can talk.
yeah, no, it's cool.
I gotta speak on that for a second. So the first time Urs messaged me, he sent me a voice message on IG like 2 years ago about the nasal strip gang, and it was like crazy broken English. Like it was like literally 3 words that I understood, but it was like it was like you're my boy, and then the nose strip and stuff. And then when we got to meet right after he won Tampa out at the Olympia, his English had like 10-folded overnight. So I was like, this is really cool to see. Like,
but I was confident as fuck back in the days. I was like, yeah, Martin, what's up? Yeah. how you doing? I know my English is the best. Take it until you make it.
He's got it. It's impressive. Well, though, like for not practicing that much and not living in that culture, you've done really well. So you're gonna be out sentencing us pretty soon.
Yeah, bro, you already talk better than Dennis Wolf, and he's been here for like 10 years.
It's but
better than Big Ramy, and he's been competing here for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy Nathan isn't on this time, because I don't understand one single word that he's talking. It's so hard for me to get. You know, a little story. I was at the Evils in Prague. You know the show?
Yep.
Here in Europe. And there were 2, Nathan competed, and 3 lads of him talked to me backstage. And you know how they start the evening with some good drinks and the body in the body. And then they talk to me, Nathan's gonna win this, and I'm like, what? Fuck. And all of the 3 guys talking to me like crazy, and I didn't understand a single word, and I'm just like, yeah, Nathan's gonna win. Okay, guys, see you later.
It's a different slang, man. It's like they have a slang. I don't even know if they understand it. They just kind of mumble to each other.
I think I can understand Nathan better because I'm Australian as well. Like, I think it's just because, like, I don't know, we're all British, you know, obviously a lot of people in the US are as well, from British descent. But yeah, I think I just understand Nathan a little bit better than some people, because some people that listen to the podcast, they're like, I can't understand a word Nathan is saying. Like, we need subtitles. I'm like, that would take too long. Like, there's no way I'm doing that.
Yeah, I don't have like an issue understanding him at all. And when we got off yesterday or Tuesday or whatever, Ariel was like, man, how do you understand him sometimes? I'm like every once in a while, I'm like, what did he say? But for the most part, I understand him pretty good. And then like my dad watches it, and my dad will be like, bro, what? He went on for 2 minutes. I didn't understand a word.
But what we've learned, because we have the group chat, it's not his speech. It's like, it's everything. It's like when he types out, it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? You know, like I can read the words, but I don't know what it means.
Did you see I copy pasted the other day? I'm like, what does this mean? Because I just had no idea. No, that's funny. But I struggle with some accents really bad. Like Asian accents, I'm shocking. Like I love Asian like cuisine. Like I love going out for like Asian dinners, like Japanese tapas, all that sort of stuff. But every time I go out, I'm terrible. Like whoever I'm with, I'll be like listening to them. They'll be telling me their specials or whatever, and I just go like, "Yep." And like they ask you a question, I'm like, sorry, like what did they say? And I'm always that awkward guy that just doesn't understand whatsoever. I'm just like, just smile, nod, and say yes, because that's about as good as I'll get.
What's your favorite food, guys, when you go out and eat? Where were you got for?
What's yours, Brett?
What's your favorite food?
I haven't enjoyed food in a while. I'd have to pass me. I gotta think.
What'd you get after the Arnold Classic, Brett?
Like we just went to like a restaurant bar, and I think I had some appetizers. You know what I mean? You know what? You know what I always want right after a show is I want fruit. I love fruit right after a show. Either fruit or fruit.
I would say Brett wants fruit or he wants a PB&J burger.
Yeah,
Everything I remember.
that's
He
amazing.
loves PB&J burger.
I remember sitting backstage at the Arnolds before finals. Brett was sitting with his fucking legs on the table, eating 2 burgers and a large fries. And I'm like, fuck, sitting there with my rice cakes and peanut butter.
Yeah, that's an open boy.
I know
for
why you like some fruits post show.
Because you ate it all before they even got on stage. Wow, you guys were all fucking. You and that who was the guy you guys were fucking showing off your glutes together? Seeing who had the more shredded glutes.
Yeah, because he told the how is he what's the name from him? Michael the Bull told me, your glutes are not that striated, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? My pants and showed to my naked in front of all the competitors. So yeah, that was funny.
Do they do? Are you going to be a part of, the press conference at the Olympia this year, Urs?
I hope so. I'm gonna walk like this.
You gotta bring the outfit, have the shades on. You gotta wear it all, man.
Please do that.
Outfit. I'm just planning my outfit for the press conference right now. So
they did it weird last year. They had everybody together, like all the different divisions, and they only did I think they only had 2 classic guys. They had 4 open guys. That was about it. And
yeah, I didn't like that, man. I didn't like that.
No, they need to go back to what it was.
But someone knows how it's gonna be this year. If it's like back in the days with the table rows and then everybody's sitting together. I hope so.
I'm assuming with them having a venue back in Vegas that they'll do something more like that.
We need to bring back the oversized suits too. Everyone needs to wear an oversized.
Yes. Hint suit.
I love those Ronnie Coleman pictures of him and like Kevin Levrone and all those guys like wearing those huge suits. I'm gonna try to find a photo.
Yeah.
Marcus, yeah.
He was wearing a king size bed. That's what he was wearing.
Oh fuck.
Oh man, I found the images. I'll pull them up.
Got them. They're all just fucking ridiculous suits on.
They're so funny. I remember when Phil Heath, he got the tailored ones. Like he brought that in really well because you compare. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see.
I think Jay wore a tailored one quite a bit too.
Did he?
Yeah.
It's annoying. I can't just zoom in on this. Maybe it's on Facebook. You see Ronnie Coleman there?
Dude.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Great.
Big Ramy's wearing a sleeveless one there.
Oh yeah, he did rock. Yeah, he rocked one like last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, NASA or somebody.
Yes.
He looks developed there.
Ronnie's wearing a pinstripe suit in that one.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the photo of Sean Clarita next to Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. Because one of my friends, he works for a company.
Feel like a basketball player. Come on, bro.
What's that?
I said Sean Clarita makes me feel like a basketball player.
Oh what?
Shake Shack.
Shake Shack.
You gotta go.
It's you.
Yeah, but maybe it'll work.
I remember going out at the Olympia doing my my post.
There it is. Oh, it's one when he was younger too.
Yeah.
He's smaller. Look at that one. It looks like a Make-A-Wish with a cancer patient.
Damn.
Oh man. Do you know what blows my mind? Like you look at that difference and then you go like this.
Yeah. Think about him next.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Imagine living life that tall. Like
it's funny that I was reading something the other day that was saying that Yao Ming was created by the Chinese government to try to take over basketball.
No,
it kind of makes sense, dude.
Bro, I heard that. Because his mum and dad are insanely tall. his mum and dad are both like, his mum's like 6'5" and his dad's like 6'9" or 6'8" or something.
Isn't there like a region in China that like it's up in the mountains and like everybody's over 6 foot there or something? Like it's just like everyone is super tall in that area, and that's where he came from.
I don't know, but I want to find out more about that. But I'll look it up maybe while we're doing something else. But Marty, I wanted to bring up something with you because I was looking. I had a few people actually send this to me, and it was when you and Andrew Jack were on stage, and there was a collision of elbows, and everyone's acting like this is a big crazy thing because it looked like Andrew turns and says something to you, and the judge says, "Marty, what are you doing?" or something like that.
Yeah.
What was with that? What went down? Was there words said? Like, I just wanted to sort of spring that on you, if you want to mention.
No, so it was really dumb, honestly. So like I was already set in my pose, and Andrew's so much taller than me that his elbow like was coming down on my arm, pushing me out of the pose. So I just reset. See how he's like, so he's so tall that he like keeps pushing his arm down on mine. So I just keep resetting, and then like he just keeps pushing into me. So I reset, and then Tyler gets mad and said like, "Marty, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm hitting my rear double. Like, I don't know what the issue is here." But he didn't say anything to me.
Yeah.
There was no issue there or anything like that. And honestly, man, like it had nothing to do with like trying to like be like battle or be arrogant or anything like that. Like I literally was just set in my pose, and like I felt so confident in it that like when he kept pushing my arm out of the way, I like wanted to put my arm right where it felt good. So I just reset, and when I did, like it ran into him again. So it is what it is.
It's funny little things like that, like how they can like, it's almost like in a sporting game, you know what I mean? Like when you see, you know, in NFL and you see all these other sports, like obviously they're physical sports where guys are, you know, hitting each other. But you know what I mean? Like you get one person just knocks one person and goes, okay, well, I'm just going to reset. And he's like, oh, you're pushing me back. And it's like, that's the sort of how, and everyone watches that.
If you see, like, I'm the first one in the pose. Like I'm already set before everybody else. And exactly. that was one of my goals going into this posing wise, was to be the first one in and the last one out of poses. So me being set there, like he pushed my arm, and I just, like I said, I just reset. And everybody thought it was like me trying to pull like a freaking Phil Heath, Kai Green moment or something like that. It's like, no, I'm not trying to make a big deal about this. Like, don't blow it out of the water.
Yeah, for sure. I'll play it now and people can see. So it's just here, obviously. So you get in your pose first. He knocks you. You just sort of try to push back and get back in that position. And then and then he looks like he's saying something to you there, but yeah, I'm sure it's just something that's been blown out of the water.
If he did say something, I was like so in the zone that I completely ignored him if he did say something to me, to be honest.
Yeah,
Wait, what YouTube was that?
I don't know whose YouTube this is. This is
Martin. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's what it says, Martin. Well, that's what Tyler said on the micro.
Well, yeah, that's what Tyler said. Like Tyler tried to call me out on it or something, and like whatever. Like I didn't even want to go ask afterwards because I'm like, whatever. Like if you want to say my name instead of Andrew's, that's fine. But that was kind of, should have said like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. Well, straight under the only comment.
Just do the typical Steve and knock it off. Spread out.
Exactly.
The only comment that I've seen posted underneath is says he didn't do anything ?
Yeah.
And then someone says some good passion in bodybuilding, and then that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like no one in the crowd or anything like thought it was like a big deal. As far as like, I mean, nobody was like, obviously if it would have been a big deal, you know, somebody would have made a YouTube video 5 minutes after, like Marty tried to punch Andrew Jack, like that. So it was just bumping elbows, you know, that's bodybuilding.
I'm interviewing Andrew Jack again in a couple of days, so I'll ask him if he said anything to you. But man, someone will probably make a YouTube video out of this or something. But
of course,
yeah. Even
I don't understand why they don't put on like more of the boxes on the floor. You know, not only the first center box. Like why they don't like 6 or 7 boxes from the first call out, and everybody stays in the box, so you don't have the problem anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the other thing that I forgot to say when we talked about like the post show thing is like, Andrew kept cheating the line, and when a guy like that big is cheating the line, I gotta cheat the line like a motherfucker. So that's one thing that I can improve on a lot. Like when the 6-foot guy's cheating the line on the most muscular, I gotta walk my ass up to the front of the stage.
Yeah.
So that's something that I can be better at too.
To be honest, I don't know how much those marks would help because once you get posing, they forget about it, man. Everybody just starts creeping, I guess it would width wise, because then you won't be that way, but you see it every show, everybody just starts sneaking up right away.
Yeah. But at least the judges can say, like, get in your box. Like, get
back in your box.
You're like, okay. Man, if you got Steve Weinberger yelling that at you, I'm pretty sure you get back in your box straight away.
Yes.
And Marty, one other thing as well to ask you about, and I want to play this as well. They actually discussed you on the latest Fluid Abiad podcast. If you want me to play that, and I want to get your reaction, man, on what they thought about you, because Nick Walker seems like, man, he's like your biggest fan at the moment, which is crazy to say. So I want to, I'll try to share screen and play the audio. Let's see if I can actually do this. Share sound. This should work.
I did see the episode where they talked about me pre-show, and guys send them some pictures and stuff, and they had really cool things to say about me, and that was really cool, Nick. I actually unblocked him on Instagram, but for some reason I still can't find him on there, so I don't know if like I'm blocked back because of the whole things that happened or something like that, but definitely try to make amends, man. That's, like I said, water under the bridge with that kind of shit.
Yeah, for sure. I'll actually insert that now. I can't actually I'll leave it because I've got to install some Zoom audio device thing or something like that. But basically, Nick was very complimentary of you, and Fuad said he's not sure if you can. I believe he said he's not sure if you can beat Mark Hector and James Hollingshead. So what do you think about that? And then Nick basically just said back to Fuad, he said, oh, you're doubting him again. You're doubting him again. So he wasn't, shit bagging you. He said you looked fantastic.
Yeah. No. I mean, bro, those two are, those are two of the favorites going in, and they're really, really impressive. I would say I'm not as worried about Mark as I am about James. Nothing against Mark, but he just put up a post that said he was like gonna be like 20 pounds heavier this year than he was last year. And just when that happens, like I think you're gonna look soft no matter what, even if it's like you're in condition. The muscle just hasn't had time to like really solidify, get super hard. So I think that can be an advantage to me. But he is super bubbly, kind of like Andrew, so that can be in his advantage, right? And we kind of broke this down a little bit already. James is like unbelievable, incredible, but he hasn't nailed his peak yet either, a couple times. So I'll be interested to see realistically just how I stand next to those guys. I like that Fuad is doubting me. I think that that's great. I want people to doubt me. It always works in my favor. So put a little chip on my shoulder. And I think that that's probably why Nick laughed and said, doubt him again, because we're very similar mentality, right? Yeah. I think that that's probably why we butt heads a little bit, is because both of us want to be the best in the world. We're both young guys, very driven. And we see that our potential, that we could hopefully be the best in the world eventually. So Nick kind of probably saw that as like, okay, well, a lot of you guys doubted me last year after New York Pro about winning the Arnold, and I went and did that. Like, just doubt Marty and see what happens. So that's really cool of Nick, to be honest, and I'm kind of excited to like have him appreciate the hard work and stuff, because I know how much of a hard worker he is. So we're all in the same game. We're going to be bumping elbows for the next 20 years, so it'd be kind of exciting that we can all kind of make amends and get along, I guess, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. 100%, man. Well said. But Brett, you we haven't actually had you on the podcast for a little bit. It's been 2 weeks or something, I don't know. But man, you were guest posing with Hunter Labrada out in Denver last week. We discussed it on the latest podcast, which I'm going to click publish on as soon as this one is finished recording. And we basically discussed it and how you guys looked and featured it on there. But how was the guest posing? What have you been up to? What was it like being back in Denver? And have you started your prep yet for your show in 2022?
Yeah, no, it's mainly overall, it's just good to be back home here. and settled for a while. You knew that. I mean, I wasn't on the podcast as much because I was in Miami to Vegas to Dallas to Denver all in 4 weeks. I was in my own bed for about 8 days. So it's going to be really nice to actually get settled down. I only have one more trip here, and it's in like 3-4 weeks. One more guest posing. It's in Louisiana, but I'm in a great spot now. I actually started prep yesterday. Yesterday was day one, so was on the plan 100%. Now we're rolling, so it feels good to kind of bring food down a little bit, and really get going. So I'm eyeing. I know we talked about it, but I'm eyeing the Romania show here, 12 weeks from Saturday, and I'm just mostly excited to show what I'm capable of, and like I just have a different mindset going into this. Marty just talked about it with Mark Hector. It's like, yeah, he's saying he's 20 pounds heavier, but like that might bite him in the butt. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm not worried about weight so much. It's just getting back into that conditioning. Look what happened last weekend is Martin stuck out because of his supreme conditioning over the rest of them. So I'm just fucking focused this prep and mainly just ready to get after it here moving forward.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Answering that, I guess I didn't even talk about it. Guest posing was good. It was mainly good back in Denver with everybody, the people that I've been around the last 4 years. I always love that show. Put on by Dylan Armbrust. It's a great show. And then lastly, it was really good because after that we went up to my favorite place that I like to spend time at, and it's up on Grand Lake in Colorado. So literally it's a lake that's 9,000 feet elevation. So it's a lake on top of the mountains or up in the mountains. And it's the biggest natural lake in the state of Colorado, or maybe even in the nation. I don't know. It's like 400 feet deep. It's up in the mountains. It's just absolutely beautiful up there. So we went up there for like 3 days. Yeah, there it is. Just fucking relax, man. Like we didn't lift, just ate when I wanted to. And it was just good to get that all out, before a prep. And I think a lot of people focus too much going into the prep, and it just gets longer and longer and longer. I'm coming into this with great energy because I got that out of my system, had some good times, and then now I'm ready to lock in and focus in.
Yeah, this looks awesome. It looks so cool, man. Like we have where I live, it's in Tasmania, so we've got it's only a 3-hour drive from pretty much the top to bottom, or maybe 3.5 hours. But up in the middle of Tasmania, it's quite highlands, and there's lakes up there as well. But obviously, it's nothing like to the height of Denver or anything like that. But it's they have like trout fishing and all that sort of stuff up there. What do you catch up in those lakes?
It was trout, so it was rainbow trout and then I think brown trout. But yeah, that was they just have trout fish up there, and it's mainly for like we did some wake. I didn't do any wakeboarding, but Ivana did some wakeboarding. We did a lot of cruising around, and it's just like I said, it was so refreshing because it was like 60 degrees up there. At night it was 50, so we slept with the door, the windows open. Here, it's fucking 85 degrees even at night, so it was good just to get cooled off for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like at the end of your off season as well, like before you go into prep when you're at your probably your heaviest,
Yeah, exactly.
Because honestly, like you guys must be cooking all the time, because even me, like if I'm bulking, and I put on 5-10 kilos or something, or 20 pounds, it's like you just start pouring with sweat. So I imagine for you guys it's brutal, especially like it looking like this, man. So
yeah, there's a lot of water to be thrown around there. Martin saw it. I was like, dude, I can't train at Metro right now, dude. Like, and then even at Dallas, I was dripping all over the floor and shit. I was like, next time, when I'm in prep, we can go out there, but not this time. It's not going to work out.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it looked like a cool guest posing, man. Like we featured it last week, but seeing this, like looking at your physique, where do you think you've, I suppose, come up the most? Because the first thing I noticed is your legs. They look much bigger, but when you hit that most muscular too, it looks like you've definitely added a good amount of mass to that upper body. So where do you think you've improved most, and what did you think about the guest posing, I suppose, and how you looked?
Yeah, like I said, this is peak top weight too. So it's like obviously there's gonna be a little extra fat, a little bit of water, but overall, I feel good about, especially with what my focus was with the legs. So bringing up the legs was huge for me. Put a lot of effort into that. So we'll see that here in the next week as it inflation comes down and water comes down. But those should be where improvements went. I just need to tighten up everything now. I feel like in a good spot. Arms improved a little bit, back continues to. And now it's just the right, we were already there, but now it's just perfect conditioning here ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, man. And that Romania Pro that you're doing, is that a qualifier for this year's Olympia?
So yes, it's a qualifier for this year. So it'll actually probably be pretty loaded. Everybody trying to get into the Olympia. So it should be some good competition, especially after that UK. I was thinking about that. Some guys that didn't, that don't win, they might run over there if they're from there. And then there's another show like 2 weeks later in Spain, and that one's actually for the next year. So Romania is the cutoff for this year's Olympia, but that's the goal. I really want to be on the Olympia stage, especially in Vegas in December, because we don't know where it'll be next year. It might not be Vegas, I heard. So
yeah,
I definitely want to do that while we can.
Yeah, because I heard the same thing. I've heard it on a few podcasts as well, but it's going to probably go back to Orlando next year just because of dates and trying to get a venue and obviously the cost of Vegas as well. And like, man, obviously Jake Wood has a ton of money, but that dude took over literally at the worst time. Like he took over, pandemic happens, he's burning probably tons of money. I mean, obviously he's got a decent amount to burn if he's purchasing the Olympia, but still, it's good at least he's been able to keep the Olympia going, because we're pretty lucky, because if that was under AMI, I don't think we would have had an Olympia that first year when the whole pandemic happened and stuff. So we're pretty lucky we've got Jake Wood in control of the Olympia at the moment, and hopefully it goes back to Vegas after that.
I agree with that. It would also be cool to see. I mean, it would be cool to see if The Rock brings back the Athleticon show too. I guess I can't confirm anything on that, but I've heard some rumblings that might be happening sooner than later. So that'd be really cool to see. And that might take the spot in Vegas even.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be cool to have 3 big sort of tier shows each year. I would love to see The Rock show actually, like, as almost like a bridge, like have like the Arnold Classic 2 months later, 3 months later, somewhere around that period of time, have the Rock show and then have the Olympia. And then people can sort of, I think it would improve the quality of the shows that would be around the Rock show. You know what I mean? Because you get some of those competitors
level up, but also I think it'll be a really good instrument to bring more attention to our sport. Just with The Rock's following, see what he's doing with the XFL right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's about to start, but he's out there with the athletes, doing a bunch of marketing for it. So like, obviously he'll do some sort of marketing for if the Athleticon, if it happens, but it'll maybe even bring some athletes to get involved too. So it's just a good thing overall. And I really hope it happens for bodybuilding, because I think it'll just amplify our sport even more.
Yeah, if we can get those big names like The Rock, like obviously Shaq loves bodybuilding. There's a whole bunch of, like, Dave Bautista loves bodybuilding. There's a whole bunch of celebrities that actually really do enjoy bodybuilding. And obviously The Rock is one of them, and he's hopefully going to be that guy that drives more mainstream sort of sponsorship. Maybe not the super mainstream brands in terms of putting tons of money into the sport, but at least if we can get some of those even car brands and stuff like that, like they do in Egypt with Big Ramy. That would be absolutely next level. So I would love to see it.
There's probably more celebrities that do enjoy bodybuilding. It's just those are the ones that are publicly involved with it.
Yeah.
I guarantee there's a lot more out there and stuff. So this will help open those gates, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's get into a few questions, because we've got a bunch on YouTube and getting them coming on Instagram right now, wherever they are. So let's get into it a little bit. First one from Matt Norman, dream car. So what's your dream car, Urs?
I don't even fucking have a driver's license. So I stay to my Subway.
Marty, what's yours?
72 Chevy Chevelle SS with 454 in it, probably 4-barrel carb.
I love your taste of cars. It's really modern's always the best cars and the biggest motors.
Right. America's about like those big ass trucks and cars and stuff. Hey, Brett, what's yours?
I'd have to really think about dream car right now, because I haven't had one that I'm just like thinking about my whole life. But I wouldn't mind a fucking. I was looking at one the other day, not looking at it, I just saw one. But I want to drive around a Corvette Stingray. There's a lot of them. There's quite a few down there, and they're just, some of the newer models are badass. So that would be kind of, if I could grab one right now, that's what I would do.
Yeah. What is I mean, I don't know, you don't have to answer this because I don't even know if I'd want an answer, but some of the guys at Raw and Revive, like obviously, you know, that's a huge company, and the owners and Chris Bumstead and stuff like that obviously are doing really well for themselves. Do they drive anything that's really cool that you see and you're like, damn, that's cool?
That's mostly Dom. He has like the Porsches, the Lambos, you know, a few of those, you know, the business cars. You see, Chris actually, he bought this old school truck. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
He has a F-100 that's kick ass.
It is. And yeah, so that one's really cool to see in person. That's kind of, I think, the way that he works on and stuff. And he also has I think a GTR as well besides that. But Matt has this dope TRX. And it's like a special edition, brand new orange. Before that, that's another car I wanted. His car before that was the Red Eye, the Hellcat Red Eye.
Oh yeah.
It was 2021. That one was a lot of fun. It was like 720 horsepower. He let me borrow it whenever I came down, and that was just every time I take it out, I just had too much fun with it. But
man, I'd be too nervous. I'd like driving other people's cars. Like, even if someone says, "Oh, here's my keys," like, you know, if it's somewhere like dodgy to move their car, I'm like, oh, I'd just be real careful because I just hate that responsibility of fucking up someone else's shit, you know. But have you seen this one? This is like apparently one of the new Ferraris. It's worth like £2 million or something. So I guess like $2 million. So I've seen this and I'm like, that just looks sick. I could see you driving around this Urs.
Yeah. Maybe in 10 years you can ask me again.
Would you ever get into movies or anything like that? Because like you've got that sort of Arnold style charisma, and you know you seem to be able to talk to anyone and all that sort of stuff.
Actually, a lot of people saying that my voice reminds of Arnold's, but I don't think so at all. But actually, to become an actor after this would be amazing for me. I just love to do stuff like this, and I love to produce content on my YouTube channel. So that's kind of acting, you know. It's showing you life, but I enjoy it in front of the camera.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next question. This one is from original_Jose_Bar.15. Does the Miracle Bear back himself to challenge Chris Bumstead for the Olympia title? So do you back yourself this year?
Never say never. So I go for it.
I've said it for over a year now. I've said if anyone's gonna beat Chris, it's gonna be him because he just matches up so well with Chris. So you just got to keep doing what you're doing, and like I think it's, you know, sooner or later you're gonna be right there. So you just keep believing, brother.
Yeah, I'm not a talker, you know. I don't like to talk and say like doing the blessing style of promotion and you know, say yeah, I'm gonna beat him, and I work my ass off every day, and at the end it's up to the judges like always, but I can say I work hard and improve my package for this year's Olympia, so I really can't wait until December.
Man, I'm waiting for one of those sound grabs to be like, yeah, I'm going to kick Chris Bumstead's ass or something. But no.
Hey,
you can put on a good video title, right?
Yeah.
Urs Kalecinski.
Clickbait.
Yeah. I'll just put Urs, Chris Bumstead hasn't got shit on me.
Yeah.
I couldn't translate it right. I didn't understand what he said.
Yeah, for sure. But man, yeah, I love it. Like, look, I think it's one of those things. Obviously, Blessing has his sort of way of going about things in terms of, you know, like hyping it up and stuff. Some people like it, some people don't. But I think obviously you bring personality to the sport, so I don't think you need to do any of that sort of stuff because people were drawn to your personality anyway, you know.
I think hyping up is a good thing, but I like to hype it up with an post of my my form or my form check, you know, 3 weeks out or something like this, and then you can see, oh fuck, it's gonna be dangerous. But I'm not like the guy hyping everything up with words. So talk is cheap, and work your ass off, and then you can do the rest.
For sure. Next question is from Gym Guy GLB on Instagram. If training early morning, do you guys train fasted or always have a pre-training meal? I always have a pre-training meal because I feel like, especially for you guys as well, I'm assuming you would all have a pre-training meal if you're training early.
The only time when I go fasted to the gym is when I'm on vacation and I'm eating the whole day. Like I went to Naples in Italy, and we spent there. My girlfriend and I spent some good time there, and then we always went to the gym, fasted, did our session, and then eat the whole day and half the night. But normally I always have a pre-workout meal.
Yeah, Brett, what do you do?
I mean, if it's on schedule when you're really training for something, if it's not like a vacation or something that you got a really light meal or a really late night meal or something, maybe, but on like a vacation, like he said, but always have, you need that pre-workout nutrition, even if it's a shake. There's been times where we trained early and I just did a very high carb shake for energy, for recovery, things like that. But I would always say pre-workout meal is very vital.
Yeah. Same as you, Marty?
Yeah, I mean, essentially same thing, man. Like, realistically, you're probably not going to catch me training in the morning, unless you like, I absolutely have to, because I don't like that anyways. I like to have like 2 to 3 meals in me no matter what before I train. And then any more than that is better, But I would say that if you're getting up at like 4 in the morning or something and you're trying to get it in before work, maybe look at the last meal that you eat before bed being a really high carb, high fat, to make sure that takes a long time to digest. And that can be beneficial too. And then maybe you could possibly train fasted or have a really, really light meal before you train if you have to do that. But that's really something that you should probably work with a coach on and get figured out. But like I said, for me, realistically, like unless we're on a trip and you're making me train that early, I'm gonna tell you to go screw yourself.
Well, I would go for a pre-workout shake, like Brad said, with cyclic dextrin and kind of stuff that absorb very fast, and then you drink it 20 minutes prior to workout, and then you're good. Maybe another intra-workout shake, and then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Well,
one thing I've learned that works well, especially with clients that I've dealt with and stuff in the past, is like if they have to, wake up, train before work, is you can do a lot of, I always do rice and grinds or cream of rice before, there's different companies out there, before workout anyway, but you can also make it the night before. So it's almost like an overnight oats kind of thing. So you make it the night before, put it in the fridge. So then in the morning, all you do is you get up, the rice and grinds or the cream of rice is done. You eat it with a protein shake, and you can get that down, and it sits very well. You can do it 30 minutes before a workout. So I've done that in the past, and I've also had a lot of clients do that, and it seems to work really well. So something that's just rice based, super easily digestible, make it the night before, grab and go.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. All right, let's move to YouTube. We'll answer a few questions there. This one is from just Z on YouTube. I just finished my first show and my coach has me back on lower food and doing an hour of cardio literally the day after the show. He says it will be like this for the next month or so, and then we'll increase food / decrease cardio. Thoughts on this approach? So I'll go to you first, Brett. You can take this one first.
I mean, it sounds like he's just still in prep, I don't know that, obviously all of us here believe in, slowly coming out of a show. So we're all going to say that, what you do is you don't just fucking eat whatever you want starting the day after the show. What I usually do is I'll tell people they get one free day. So maybe that Sunday, eat what you want, but then you're back on a structured plan on that Monday. What I would suggest you do is you start bringing down cardio right away. I mean, if you're doing an hour, why do you need to keep doing an hour, or else you're just going to stay in a prep. You're going to go a month and you'll be the same size if you're not increasing food or dropping cardio. So it's still pretty much a prep. the process of, you know, a rebound or, you know, coming out of a show is to, you know, gradually, hopefully decrease cardio and gradually increase food. So you have a firm balance there of putting on good muscle, because you're going to be the most responsive after a show. We've all seen it. We've all used rebounds. That time, that month after the show is honestly some of the best time to grow. You know, we've all seen our biggest gains come a month after a show. You know, and if you do it right, you know, you can do it in a week or two by just eating all you want, or you can prolong that over for 3-4 months if you do it right. But it's about gradually increasing food, you know, not too much of a spike at once. You know, for us, it's usually the introduction of carbs again, and maybe some fats. Our proteins are always going to be high. So it's always, you know, carbs and proteins are increasing, protein stays the same. And then what I like to do is slowly decrease cardio, because you don't need that cardio to stay as lean anymore. There's no purpose. So I would probably stop working with that guy, because you don't want to just sit around and diet for an extra month for no reason. Yes, there is a purpose, and you shouldn't be just throwing food in, but you should definitely be starting to add more food in and decreasing some cardio within, you know, at least 2 weeks, you know?
Yeah, I don't know why he would stay. It says it's going to be like this for the next month, where they're staying on an hour of cardio a day for a full month after a contest. It seems pretty insane, because I mean, I hardly even work up to that during a whole contest prep, even at the end. So it'd be something where, like I've done in the past, where you cut your cardio from doing, just say 6 hours a week total down to probably like 2 straight away almost, or 2.5, and then increasing the calories a bit, you know, like you said, increasing the carbs up a bit. But I think one mistake sometimes people make is they want to stay really lean post contests, and they're like, no, I want to sort of just stay a little bit above this. And I'm like, good luck. And they try to sort of almost, like reverse diet and increase it too slowly, and they just crack, because like they're just not having enough carbs, that they're just like, oh fuck this, may end up just cheating too much as well. So I think there's like a fine balance between reverse dieting and introducing the carbs back a little bit quicker, you know, I think so.
Hey, real quick, I gotta get running. I gotta drop her off.
Yeah, man, you go, bro.
I'll see you guys until next time. Urs, we'll see you. Marty, I'll talk to you soon.
Love you, bye. Talk to you later. Bye.
Great. Catch you, bro. All right. So do you guys want to answer a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap this thing up?
For me, honestly, I need to go as well. I need to go to bed because.
Oh man, sorry.
Yeah. So
anyway,
I don't want to end it like this, but next time I will be on for a bit later. But I need to wake up pretty early tomorrow.
Yeah, we've been going for a while, bro. I want to thank you so much, Urs, for coming on Desktop Bodybuilding. I think it's cool to get your personality out there more in English as well. Because I remember seeing you on the Menace podcast with Dennis James, and it was a really cool interview. And I was like, I need to get this guy on the channel. And it's cool that you came on the show, and hopefully we get to see more of you, you know, in the coming months, man, leading up to the Olympia.
For sure, boys. See you.
Sweet. Thanks so much. Marty, thanks for coming on once again, answering all the hard questions as well. But Urs, do you want to thank any sponsors or anything like that?
Of course, my sponsor Vario from Germany. We don't sell at the US market at the moment, but they do a phenomenal job supporting me and everything. So very thankful for this. If you want to guys check out Miracle Wear, Martin, by the way, you need to send me your address and stuff, but I get this later on, so I can send you some stuff for me.
Yes, yeah. I got some stuff for you too, bro.
Perfect. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will be on for sure for the next one too.
Legend. Can't wait for it, man. And Marty as well. I never let you guys thank your sponsors. So thank your sponsors real quick. And also, for Brett, I'll give him a shout out for Raw and Revive as well, and all his other sponsors. I think he's with some of your sponsors too, Marty. So give your sponsors a shout out too, and whoever you're working with.
Yeah, of course, man. So just obviously Gasp and Better Bodies. That's pretty much my only sponsor. MegaFit as well, actually, with meals. They sponsor both Brett and I as well. And then Martian Wear. So I got a website coming as well, with a bunch of stuff coming hopefully in the next week or so, and we'll get pre-orders done, and then hopefully by 3 weeks out from the Arnold UK we'll be able to ship everything out, and have people wearing Martian Wear when we go to kick some butt in the UK. So hopefully do that. But obviously then huge thanks to you guys and the channel, man, for this exposure. I think it's awesome for us to be able to just chop shop and give our knowledge and show how intelligent we are, not just big dumb meatheads.
Yeah, man, for sure. And thank you guys so much for coming on as well. It's much appreciated. Always very thankful that I've got obviously such big names able to come on the channel and share their views and thoughts and all that sort of stuff. So it's real cool for me, man. But anyway, thank you so much. So that's it for us. For Martin Fitzwater, for I was going to say the Miracle Bear, Urs Kalecinski, and also Brett Wilkin, and for myself, Xavier Wills, we are out.